God.
And welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, joined tonight with my co host, Michelle.
Hey, everyone.
So, tonight we have a rather interesting and fun episode for you because normally we're all about the paranormal, and tonight we are shifting gears because October is upon us, and you know what that means? Haunted house season.
Yeah.
So, who better to come on than the number one haunted house in Texas? Texas Scaregrounds in the house.
Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome.
So, what got you guys to come up with the idea of Texas Scaregrounds?
Oh
Over to
my
you.
goodness. Yeah. It's been we're approaching my 33rd, 34th year
Wow.
in the haunted attraction industry. Uh my on being on my own, I've been on my own since 2003. Before then I helped produce other haunted attractions, and I just grew up in a very theatrical family. I had graduated from Stephen F. Austin with a degree in PR and marketing. I had just, I don't know, we just went for it. Me, two other partners did a show together, not under the name Texas Scaregrounds, but under a different name for about 4 years. After that, we broke up, and I went off on my own. And the location that I went to had three different buildings, so we knew we needed a big name. We were just Chaos Haunted Attraction, and we needed an umbrella building or an umbrella name. And came up with Texas Scaregrounds. It's from about 2009.
Wow, that's super cool. And wow, I thought it was around a little longer than that with all the stories that you share. It's like, wow, I
Well,
didn't realize I was joining in so kind of shortly in time speaking.
30
That's
years.
you guys could be so successful for so long. I mean, that's a really long stretch.
Yeah. It started in college as something we did as a philanthropic project.
Oh, cool.
Cool. And so, as I remember, you had stories of Kennendale when you were there.
Hmm.
Do you find the locations that you do the haunted houses in
Yeah,
tend to be haunted before or after you start your stuff?
a little bit of both. I think that over the 30 something years, I have collected a lot of items. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is if it's a sofa, it's an antique sofa. If it's supposed to be in that room, if it's a Victorian, it's Victorian desk and Victorian dolls. So we pick up a lot of historical items. And when we moved to Kennedale, and if I paid closer attention, I would say that this all started just the day we went on our own. But you chalk stuff up. If you're not someone that sees things, you'd be amazed at what you can just chalk things up to coincidence. Our
Right.
just won't. We're just not open to it until we went to the Kennedale building. And when we were in Kennedale is when we had our first started things that we couldn't deny. Like we would be standing in a group and things fall from the ceiling. And I'm not talking just like one penny. I'm talking it would rain pennies and dimes down on us.
Oh, wow.
We had called some of that paranormal TV people and they were supposed to come out and all that, but that never happened. But one time we were standing there and baby shoes rained down on us. That was very strange.
Never
Yeah,
heard
that
of
would be hard to explain too.
It's just things like that. We could always explain the moving furniture. We could explain the voices. We just always, because we were always trying to scare each other, and I don't know, we just explained it away for many years. But when we went to Kennedale, there were things that happened like we couldn't explain.
Now, were these items that you already had in the room and they would like come at you, or were these things that just manifested from
These
nowhere?
manifested.
Wow, baby shoes. That's one I haven't heard before.
Yeah, when we
Crazy.
carried those baby shoes around, I may still have them. They may be in the doll room. In fact, I think there's a bag of baby shoes still there. But
Yeah.
I think that opening it, the most of the buildings that we have been in have been sitting dormant for a long time. And you guys know more than I do about the spiritual or the paranormal side. But I think when you breathe life into something, uh, I think you awaken things that people in that building.
Absolutely.
I think you
Yeah.
also attract nearby things, and then I think that feeds off each other because I do know for a fact we have a lot of vessel items that nobody's taken. One day we'd like to have some psychics out and let them just for that reason only talk and try to talk about our vessel items because we have a lot. I mean, more
I'm
than the
actually
average
really good with objects. I'm good about
Um,
attachment things. I've had really good luck finding things for people, and
we would, we're not scared of them.
Yeah.
We're not afraid of them. We actually, thanks to the people like Michael, we used to be afraid of it. I'm not gonna lie, it used to terrify us. But and that's how we got to know Michael and Phoenix, John. Everybody that we've met in the paranormal industry is because when we opened, not in Kennedale. Kennedale is when we first really started becoming aware of it. The other stuff, it'd be hit or miss. We'd see a few things in all the buildings, no big deal. But Kennedale, we could not deny it was like mass hysteria. It was absolutely. We had
Wow.
parents pulling their kids out. And then we went to the Nazareth. Things started happening, and we knew a little bit about its history, and that's when we reached out to, like I said, we reached out to John, and Phoenix, and Michael, and them to come out and try to figure out what's going on in that building. We wanted to make sure one that I don't know what the word is. I don't really want to
That they
say
wanted to accept
safe.
us?
Yeah, I just didn't want
There
to build.
were
that was going to be
friendly.
Yeah, we didn't want a building that we were bringing teenagers into the building. We wanted to make sure it was a safe environment
Right.
because we were seeing things move. You know, we caught some things on our closed caption video, uh, things like that. So, and we were seeing things that at the time we didn't know. Oh, that's a shadow figure. We were seeing big black figures, you know, and some of them had hats on. You know, we just thought, oh, look, it's a cowboy. You know, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right.
And see, that's what I love about when I met you guys was, I mean, being new to it all and everything it was like so exciting to see. Like you could say, "Oh, look, I think I caught something here," and it would be like you could see the excitement in your eyes and going, "Wow, there actually really are interested in
Yeah,
what."
we
Because a
knew
lot of
what we thought we were seeing, but it was so cool to have you guys come in and teach us and go, that's an orb, that's dust, that's a bug, you know, but we were catching large orbs coming down a
yeah,
hallway, you know, like almost like snow coming at you. And then come to find out that was the hallway where all the abortions were done when it was a teen pregnancy center back in the 60s. That's where Planned Parenthood was. Don't know what to say. Make of that. Just know that's what we saw. Um, so I think a lot of the items, because we have at the Fort Walters, we still have a lot of the same names coming up. I think that tells us that a lot of the entities weren't necessarily bound to the Nazareth. They were bound to us or the object,
Right.
or they have free will where they're at. Y'all, I mean that's not our area. We just know that we have a lot of the same entities. We have new entities, but we still have a lot of the same ones.
Right. It's probably a lot of all of it. I mean, you probably got attachments, and your building has attachments, and I mean, houses and things absorb energies. So I've gone into houses, and I don't even want to be in there. They're just you can just feel the anger and the everything in the walls. And then I've been into some where there's nothing in it, and it's literally like your home. It's the happiest place you could be. You just want to have a tea party in there. It's so happy, and there's nothing in there. So I mean, walls absorb things, and everything has a vibration or
right.
absorption, whatever. So
And I have to say, it was kind of fun and interesting. As Shawna asked me at one point, as the historian, to look up some stuff about the building and what we can learn to talk to people about. And I was like, I knew what she had wanted, but I was like, there's so much more history here on the land than that. And I was like, here's the prehistory age. Here's what happened with the conquistadors. Here. And I was like, so yeah, there is such a wide range because so much stuff happened on the land that, yeah, we easily dismiss it thinking, oh, they got to be current. But no, we could have conquistadors, Spaniards, or there's World War II, Vietnam. I mean, the Indian Wars. There's a whole lot of history to that location that I was even surprised about.
it's pretty interesting. I think it's important to have a male and a female with sensitivities and things like that when you go on these investigations, because you don't know what time frame they're from, and there might be a woman who doesn't want to talk to a man, or there might be a man who feels like he's above talking to a woman because of just the time frame that they lived in. Right. So I feel like it's really important.
And with it being a military base, we have had that be a topic where some of the nurses had wanted to talk to the females. Right. And some of the high-ranking officers thought they were too good and would only speak to the males. Exactly. They weren't very nice to the males, but they would only speak to the males. Right. And we've had more women get hit with things than men at our location. Yeah. So I think we have a lot of hostile male energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
understand that.
hostile, but still not like hurting anyone. Just
No,
making their presence known.
exactly. It's more, and that's a yeah. I need to clarify that. I
No,
don't know what
it's
you
very,
call all that.
very
I've been
exact.
scratched, but that's like a dominance thing. That's happened to me everywhere I've been, starting in Kennedale. It's like a fight for who dominant, and I just one time I seriously screamed at the Nazareth, "I opened you up. I'm gonna shut you back down if you don't stop it," because I
Right.
was so terrified, and it all quit from that day on. It quit messing with me.
See, and that's the important thing that a lot of people don't realize is they feel like the spirits are the ones in control because they're doing whatever, but it actually is up to the owners. If whatever they allow, then the spirits will go within that. But when you draw the line and say this is too far, they
Hmm.
back down. They realize, they
Yeah.
have boundaries just like in the living.
With her, but not the rest of us.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
I got
because she
that.
I
stated
still
it.
see them. I still see
Ain't mess
them.
with
They
me.
just don't
No.
scratch me and hurt me after we
Well,
get to
Oh,
that
y'all
Shane,
point.
have you told them in a like forceful voice like she does?
No, I go
Well,
the other
see,
way.
He goes, "Ah, I'm scared."
Yeah. The Nazareth always to this day it still spooks me out. I went in there one time by myself and I wouldn't do it again. So
yeah,
it just gives me the creepy vibes. I hear the doors. I seem to hear everything, and I just never. And even in our current building, it's really creepy being in there by myself. So I greet the spirits, like you guys, told me, and kind of be really kind, and but yeah, I still hear the doors slamming, and we don't have that many doors. Uh, just hearing all kinds of things. The animatronics going off all the time.
Yeah, I couldn't
So,
handle that part. But you have to remember when these ghosts are being aggressive towards you, think about if you went for a long period of time and
Oh,
no
right.
one could hear you and no one could see you, and you finally are able to find humans that you can interact with, you're going to be excited.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to be, you don't know your own strength. You don't know all of these things. So don't necessarily be afraid of them. Just
Well,
remember that if
Yeah,
you would
that's
be
what
that
I've
frustrated,
learned.
Almost definitely.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks to you guys. That's what we've learned, and we keep learning. We dabble with seasoned investigators. We never go off on our own.
Right.
We dabble like with Michael or with Phoenix or John with the investigating, which we love, but we love horror more than that's our thing right there.
Right. Exactly.
yeah. This is a little video I put together of some of the stuff that Shawna sent me, and I kind of selfishly made it an ad too,
Thank
Thank you.
you.
promotional.
are there going to
But
be things popping out here,
fair
Michael?
warning: there are parts where you may want to cover your eyes if you don't
Yeah, I'm
want to
just
see
going to
anything
take
horror.
that.
But yeah, I mean, and I gotta give kudos to you guys because it's two buildings, and most people sit there and say one building is plenty, but you guys actually utilize two buildings, I think, to the fullest. And that amazes me because I think about decorating and I'm like, man, I get overwhelmed and I'm like, I just do the front yard. I can't do a backyard.
This is the brains right here. She's
But you make it
phenomenal
happen.
about the decorating and the imagination behind everything. I look at a room and go, "What am I supposed to do?" And she just guides me, and then all of a sudden it all comes together.
It's nice
You know.
that you can read my brain.
I've had time to learn.
No, but that, and I think it's great how you embrace the history and the oddities and
Yes.
everything. And it's like that's one of the cool things. And as we bring stuff to you too, it's like you don't sit there and go, well, this is a comic book from the Vietnam age, but why would we want that? But you're like, no, we'll put it in the oddities museum or somewhere. So
Put it somewhere where somebody can appreciate it, and not just sitting.
and ask
know,
about it.
yeah.
yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
It's me in the
And
morning.
I will say though too, one of the things that I love is as a volunteer actor there, Shawna and Shayne are so awesome because they are like, if you don't want to put makeup on, don't put makeup on. You can just stand, do whatever. But when it comes to makeup, Shawna has a great team of makeup artists that can make pretty much almost anything you can imagine come to life. Yeah, I kind of selfishly threw myself in there.
Oh yes, of course.
I
Tell the
mean,
truth.
really?
There's Mustafa.
Hey, think of it this way, Michelle. You get a break from the scary photos.
Yeah, Jared.
That's Jared.
Yeah, I'm good.
I like that one. That one was really
Yeah,
cool.
Mo took that one.
Oh my God, it's a doll.
That's the
Not
one
just
that's
any
got
doll.
we know has a attachment.
Mm.
That's a very
Chelsea.
famous doll.
Yep.
Been on TV and all.
Yep. She has there's a male attachment to that. You need to come check that out.
Nope, I'm good. I can already tell you, it's not good. My stomach is sick.
We
No,
got lots and lots of those.
it looks great for people who like scary things.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of Care Bears, so
Well, we could probably throw some Care Bears in there.
no,
somewhere.
we're not gonna demonic them. No, we're gonna leave them sweet.
I didn't say demonic size them. I just said we could put them in there.
Yeah, you don't. That would make no sense.
Hanging with fishing line.
No.
Upside down.
Oh no.
Um,
Don't
every
ruin my
investigation,
Care Bear.
Midair.
people complain about the fishing line hanging down.
Yeah, that way it looks like they're floating in midair.
Just make it look like spider webs, like they're trapped in a spider web. That's creepy to think of a spider big enough to trap a Care Bear.
Thank you for the vision. We're gonna try it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We'll send you pictures.
I would go with one of those big banana spiders that everybody's got in the yard.
Well, yeah.
There
Right.
you go, Shane.
I was at the Crazy Water.
Yeah, that's at the Crazy Water Hotel before they opened up. They allowed us to go up there and do a photo shoot.
That's the room from Shining.
I actually, in that
Next.
Crazy Water, that's one of the few places that I cannot go in there without doing at least 3 readings. Like,
wow.
that is one of the hot spots. That and the upstairs at the Silver Saddle here in Granbury, it never fails. If I'm up there with other humans,
There's the doll that Chelsea sees.
No. No.
The doll
that's a
actually-
whole room. That's a whole
Yeah.
room of dolls. God.
Yeah, that was at the
Oh,
Nazareth.
that's about 1/3 of the dolls we have. We probably have 100, 200 dolls.
That was when
different
Destination Fear
eras.
came and saw us.
I need a blankie. Oh my God.
Yeah, and so, and it's interesting that we have yet to be able to figure out the doll's name. Everyone keeps coming up with different names.
Yeah, we
Maribel.
nicknamed her Chelsea, but I don't know what her real name is.
I would go with Maribel. That's what came to my brain.
Maribel.
It's an old name.
Oh, yes. And then the
Oh
doll
yeah,
fell.
the dolls fall over.
Yeah,
Oh,
it kind of surprises me. She doesn't stop to think I sat on the table. Maybe that's why they fell down. She just keeps looking and going, I think I bumped them. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'm like, you sat on the table.
And there's that black thing that came out of her.
Yeah.
what? What?
Yeah.
something came out
Well,
of
we
the
still
doll?
have photographs where if you take a photograph, we know to take 3. She'll be like tripled, but layered on top of each other.
Oh,
We have some
Ooh.
crazy pictures of her.
no.
But yeah, I gotta admit, I gotta give kudos to those guys for staying in that room and sitting in there after having that experience. I don't think I would be hanging out in the room.
Nope. I'm out.
Something tells me to get
I'm
out.
out. I'm
I
with
tend
you.
to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Although the where we're at now, when I leave, always yells, "Don't leave."
Especially
Do
the-
y'all have a music box that is really unusual? Like maybe it's like a music box that's also kind of like a stand-up jewelry box.
Yes, we do.
Does it have like red velvet in it?
I
Something
think
like
so.
that?
Yeah. Haven't looked. I don't really pay that close attention to it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it does.
I just keep seeing pictures of that jewelry box coming through. Something about the bottom of it.
Uh huh.
There might be some kind
Something
of
in it.
carving or scratching on it. Maybe
Look.
underneath the base. Like if you
Know what I'm looking for tomorrow?
something
Right?
about that came through really strong. So yeah, I feel like it has like a burgundy or a red like lining in it, and it's kind of maybe that tall, but it plays music. Maybe like when you open the drawer, maybe.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Is that the one that always goes off?
I think I know what
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it will play on its own.
Yeah.
And not like a ting ting ting, like it's been touched, like a full on
Music.
full round.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one night, it was after, I think it was after one of the haunt nights. Shawna sends me this video of a K2 going off. And I'm like, at first I didn't think to put the sound on. I was like, okay, I'm expecting something to go by. And she goes, "Did you hear it?" And I was like, all right, let me put the sound on. And Johnny Cash is playing,
Yes.
and the K2
That
is going
K2
nuts.
went nuts, and my phone was nowhere near it. It was just on like the intercom.
So yeah, so we discovered our spirits love Johnny Cash.
Yes.
Well, Cash was one of the #1 artists during the Vietnam era, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So it just goes to show you never know what's gonna set off
mhm.
a device. But
So-
you can rest easy, Michelle. The video's over.
Yeah. No, I'm off on this thing because I'm seeing 2 other objects. I feel like that music box came in a box of miscellaneous things, but there were 2 other things in there.
we get because we didn't think anything about it. Probably for 20 something years, people would call us and go, "We've got these creepy dolls. Will you come get them? We've got this music box display by itself. Will you come get it?" We didn't think anything about it. We used it as props in the rooms.
Right.
And then it wasn't until the last 4 or 5 years that when we met Cindy, we started doing this oddities museum, started pulling stuff out, as well as letting paranormal investigators come in.
Right.
So I think we've got some. I mean, we've got some stuff.
Yeah. Things.
Yeah,
Thanks
but
to Cindy's got some great stuff.
Yes.
oh man, she does wonders with those mannequins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's attachment to those mannequins. Those freakers move their heads and blink their eyes. I don't
I
care what
believe that.
anybody says they do. So does
Yeah.
Chelsea. Chelsea moves her head and blinks her eyes.
Yeah, Chelsea gets an attitude sometimes.
Yeah. And we have that one doll that plays music but has no batteries.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember being there when we discovered that and being like,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't heard it really since, but I know you said you've heard it in other areas.
It happens often, especially once the haunt season starts, because it seems like we got more people in there. It feeding on his energy, it happens more often and freaks them out. And then we've got something in our old bathrooms that talk to people as they go through, whispers to them.
Yeah, and the door
The
swings.
swings, the door, yeah, the doors swing open and closed. We got Mustafa and them got that on film. So, but I think we have a hodgepodge of energy going on there.
Yeah, and I don't. Well, I can't really give away anything because I don't even know what's going on. But last year, the fun was you got to pick your own adventure, sort of, with the haunt. I think a lot of people had fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna do that again. We've changed up some rooms. We've added some rooms. Subtracted some rooms. We've made some rooms harder to get out of. We've turned rooms that were normally a walkthrough into a maze. So it's not the Texas Fairgrounds from last year. It's a whole new adventure.
Which is one of the things I love, is because it's like you go to some of these places and you experience them, and it's like you go back another time and you're like, this is the same thing. The characters may be a little different, but basically the same thing. And you're like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
But with
We added quite a bit. So
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
I think you'll notice immediately all the changes.
Well, I sort of noticed some when I was there. Some of the stuff was starting to get moved, but yeah, I agree with you, Catherine. I can't wait to see it in full swing and be a part of it
Don't
again.
forget, even though we do the Texas Fairgrounds, we do paranormal investigations from Sunday to Thursday. If anyone wants to book, and we book really cheap, so I promise you, it's the least expensive two buildings you're gonna find that you have full run of out there, because we don't. I think we're pretty easy to work with. We just hand you the keys, tell you to go have fun. So we
when
got
you
two
guys
things
find
going.
that, when you find that jewelry box, I can give you some more things off of it because I've got.
Oh, I know
two.
exactly which jewelry box you're talking about. I know exactly where it is.
I'm also smelling.
Yeah, I know exactly where that jewelry box is.
There's two. It comes with two other things that came from that location, and they both have attachments to them. I don't think the jewelry box.
And one of them's a mirrored, like it opens up, got jewelry in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know exactly which jewelry box you're
But
talking
there were also some pins and some coins.
Yes, there was.
Coins.
Yeah, the coins. Yeah.
And there's also some kind of tapestry or fabric.
Yep.
It's almost like maybe sesquicentennial came to my mind, but I don't know why. It's just, one of those memorial kind
It came in something similar came in one of the drawers from the lady who gave us the drawers and the other stuff too.
Okay. And then something about the smell of baked goods in odd locations. Like
she nailed that. Baked goods. We get asked did we bake cookies beforehand? Did we put chocolate out or something?
Yeah.
So yeah, you nailed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my weird parlor trick. It just comes to me as long as I can get it out, but I'll feel like I'll explode if I can't get it out, because I have to it comes to me. I have to get it out. So sorry, but
nailed that.
It was funny when I was doing the tour in September with Wandering Souls. I went through chaos and was like, this is cool. I know all the stories. I know everything going on, what's where. And we got to mayhem, and we start walking in, and I took like 2 steps, and I go, I'm gonna admit to you guys, I have never been in mayhem. I always skip this part of the tour. I don't know what's in here. And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, I tend to. And they turn the corner and they see what's in mayhem, and they're like, oh, hell no. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. This is why I don't come in here.
That's great.
But yeah, so I finally took a tour of Mayhem. But I know you guys have a busy schedule, and I also wanted to take a moment and thank Shawna because she's a first responder nurse. I don't know if you're classified first responder, but you are
Yeah,
a
I
nurse.
am.
And so thank you for that. And we appreciate your helping us during the haunt season.
It's a family. I'm just the, I'm
She
just,
fixes all the boo boos.
yeah, I guess I'm just the boo boo
Mentally
crew.
and physically.
It's a family. So we couldn't do it without you guys. And if anybody's interested in volunteering or going through, he threw the website up. I'm sure he will again, or you'll find it in the comments. TexasScaregrounds.com. It's all for our community. The canned goods go to our food bank. So volunteers get volunteer hours for college as well as the community service and restitution programs. So it's just something that kind of we all do because we love. And if you're interested in getting be a part of it, just reach out to us. We'd love to have you.
And
good.
just out of curiosity, I know some years we do the canned goods. Are we doing that again this year?
Yes, we are.
Yes, every year. Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
And guys, you don't have to go into the scare grounds. If you're like me and you don't want to go in, it's not your jam, drop off the canned food anyway. It's going to go to a good cause. You don't have to go in. I'm sure they'll take your food no matter what. So you
Yeah,
got to keep what
Oh, yeah.
cans in the pantry. They got to sell at Brookshire's or something. Grab them. Every can counts.
It does.
Just drop them off. You don't have to go in.
Yeah,
Just drop them off and say, "Hey, this ain't my jam." Drop off the cans because you're going to feed a family with that. And a can of food can go a long way.
And if you're interested in running for a paranormal investigation, we do that kind of stuff to pay the lawn bill. So you can imagine we're a third of the price of someone they're trying to make a living off of it.
Right.
That's not our jam, but it is haunted. So we offer at a pretty significant discount in comparison to places you can investigate. And we, if it reach out to us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. And one more thing, because I know you guys got to go, is Shane has set up for, if you're doing the paranormal investigation side, a super cool, awesome, comfortable viewing room that's got what is it now, 4 TVs of screens going.
Yes, 4 TVs,
like 20 something cameras. So yeah, they worked awfully hard on it. It is beautiful.
All right, thank you.
So
yeah,
it's really hard to keep the cameras going because for some odd reason they just keep on bleeping out, so
I think it's because some things the spirits don't want recorded.
right.
We keep replacing them with
I
different
replace the
kinds,
camera and
so
it just does the same thing. And it's like, what is going on here?
It's not
yes,
like the wire.
I
We go
try.
wireless and it still does the same thing.
Mhm.
So
I think they're always looking for power. And I think
Right.
that some wires just can't handle the
We go through
interaction.
batteries like
I
crazy.
think they're always try setting up. I had a friend who had that problem, and he put those static balls where you can touch it and the static electricity goes to it. That helped him. He put one in the corner, turned it on, and they were so drawn to that they didn't mess with his wires. They didn't drain his batteries.
Really?
and we have one. We just and it does mess with it. We just usually turn it off when
just
we'll
stick
leave
it in
it
a
on
corner away from it and see if that might help you guys. I know it's helped other people. I know. So
Good idea.
it's worth it.
Right?
Yeah, good to know.
Plus, they're cool to play with too.
Well, Michelle, if you're ever in the area, just reach out to us. We'd love to have you come out.
I'll meet you at a restaurant with.
I say we won't scare you. We promise.
Well, but if you ever have a problem, I'll see if I can help you out. Just make sure all the lights are on, and I'm not going in the doll room. So
that's where our biggest problem is.
Yeah, somebody else in.
I feel you. I'm the same way. I don't like to go in there and do anything.
I don't either. It's like I'll go in there, but I'm like, man.
It didn't faze me.
You can just take little paper bags and put over all their heads.
Right.
Oh my
it's
God,
a lot of paper.
$100 just in that room. People
And
just
it's
give
funny.
us dolls now that they know we take dolls for the last 30 years. We've got
Oh,
dolls.
Lord.
Yeah, it trips me out too because I'm like, especially the year that I was there, like all the time when we were setting up, I'm like, I would go in to investigate and I'd be like, ah, damn it, the doll is not here. Where is it? I'm like, why are these dolls
It
keep
moved.
moving?
No.
It's
Yep.
like every time I go in the room, it's like the dolls are rearranged another way. I'm like, who keeps rearranging the dolls?
I'm so glad I got grandsons. I never have to buy a doll. I got 5 grandsons. I don't have to buy a dang doll ever. Good. We're dinosaurs and Tonka trucks. We're good.
Heck yeah.
Well, we got
Yeah.
trucks that'll roll across the road,
Yeah, that's
down by
the
themselves, but
kids playing with that. And the
yeah.
touching the hair. I have to keep my hair up, even at restaurants, because there'll be spirits that just walk by and swoosh my hair. But the kids love my hair. They always want to touch.
cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. But it's 41 after, and I know you
Okay.
guys
Thank you.
need to get up, and so
Good night, guys.
yeah, thank you
Night.
for
Night.
coming
Thank
on and promoting Texas Scaregrounds, and
Thank
I
you.
am looking forward to coming back.
Yes, sir. Can't wait to see you.
Yep.
It's been a
So,
while.
Always fun.
you. TexasScaregrounds.com. Mineral Wells. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Night.
Good night. Okay.
Well, nothing weirder than having a thing come through right in the middle. There's something about that jewelry box. There's something scratched on it or something.
Yeah. And to end the show, I think one thing that we can do is, because October's coming up, is I just wrote an article about Halloween that I found was really interesting. And so I don't know how familiar you are with the history of Halloween, but I found out that Halloween is based on Samhain, which is a pagan holiday that was 2,000 plus years ago celebrating.
Okay.
And it's celebrating the veil being the weakest between the living and the dead. So that actually is a real thing, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that.
But and they would leave treats out for and do a festival to honor the dead being there, because they felt like if they didn't, then they would not leave and they'd be haunted. So it was like, it was interesting. But what interested me the most was a few people realized that there's a third name for Halloween, All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, that's what I know is All Hallows Eve.
And the reason it's called All Hallows Eve is the next day is Hallows Day or Saint Day. And I never realized that All Saints Day was called Hallows Day. And so, because it always was like, I was like, what is Hallows Eve? You know, because
Right.
we have Christmas Eve before Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like interesting to learn. The Catholics called All Saints Day Hallow Day. And so it was like, wow, I actually learned something new.
It's always good to do that.
Yeah, and what was like some of the traditions for you when you were growing up?
Well, as far as Halloween, I stopped trick-or-treating at about 8. There was, it was when I was a kid, there was all this occult stuff out, and they were always scared they were going to steal your, blue-eyed, blonde-haired kids, and I just happened to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, so my mom kept me locked up during that time. But, I mean, we just trick-or-treated around the neighborhood and went on, and I was pretty inquisitive, so I asked pretty early about if things were real. And it didn't go the way I wanted it to. So
So wait a minute, hold up. I have never heard this. spirits would go after blonde hair, blue eyed
No,
kids.
cults
Oh,
to
cults.
to sacrifice us. You got, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 46. So I was, I grew up during the David Koresh thing when I was a child, and cults were a big thing, and there were supposed to be these scary cults out there stealing children. So mother kept me in, which I don't blame her. I mean,
No.
she didn't know back then they'd return me pretty quick.
No, but what was interesting for me is Halloween was an Irish holiday that was brought over, that America never really celebrated Halloween until the Irish started immigrating in.
Really? I've never heard that.
And
What
the
holiday was it?
jack-o'-lanterns, those are Irish tradition. We didn't use jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, I love me a jack-o'-lantern.
So, yeah, and so October 1st, when this article comes out, I put in the article the websites where I found all this information, and one of the traditions that I knew about, but I was like, that kind of creeped me out, was children would dress up in like the 20s and 30s in costumes and walk around with sacks of flour.
Okay.
And they would go door to door, and I was like, candy did not become a thing until I think like the 50s or 60s, but it was never started about a candy, and then candy
So the
companies,
children would get flour instead of candy?
they would walk around with sacks of flour, and if you gave them like, well, they got healthy snacks if they got snacks, but you would give them something and then they would walk away. And if you didn't, I think it was that they would throw flour on your house. And so it was like to mark your house.
See, I don't even understand how that would be feasible during that time. I mean, you're talking about penny pincher times. Like flour was a necessity.
Well, but flour was probably one of the things that people had around. And when I say sack, I don't mean like sacks like we have. It could be like a small little sandwich bag type of thing, just a small amount.
You're talking about in the 50s?
In the 20s and 30s.
30s. Well, wasn't that during the Depression era?
The 30s was the Depression era, but flour was something you could just mill, find all over. You could make by hand. You got to remember, some of the stuff that we take for granted buying in stores, they would grow in fields.
Yeah, themselves. Yeah.
So flour probably wasn't, it was stuff to put in the flour that was probably more rare, but flour is probably pretty common.
I'll have to do my research on that. That's interesting. Because me, on a, economic side of it, I would think that they wouldn't want their kids wasting that flour. But I wonder if that would be, is that something that would be only within the wealthier communities? Would it only be within the city? Did the rural people, like my great grandmother said, she didn't even know there was a depression because they were already poor. So, to them, it might have just been a tiny bit harder to get sugar or something, but they already didn't have much, so the depression didn't really hit them. But you talk to somebody in the city, and they were starving to death because they didn't have the gardens and they didn't have the animals and stuff. So I wonder if it was just like regional or rural versus urban, or if it was just a united thing. Like, I'd be curious to get deeper into it to see.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pulling up the article right now because I don't think it really got into that. There wasn't much on it. It's like that time frame. It's like, yeah, they just didn't report on a lot, and so I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
To see.
You'll have to shoot that over to me.
Let's see, where is it? Oh, and Sam Hain was a festival for fertility too. I didn't know that.
I guess when there's death, there's life. I know when my grandson was just born, my grandmother's in the nursing home with Alzheimer's, and my grandson came in like minutes before my grandmother's 83rd birthday. And I couldn't go to sleep. I called the nursing home and had him go check her because he was born with dark hair, just like she was. And I mean, the similarities was just crazy. And I said, I need you to go check on my grandmother. I don't care if you think I'm crazy or not, but I believe when one goes out, one can come in. So,
yeah. Actually, I have a correction to make. It was 1000 AD that Christianity declared November 1st as All Saints Day or All Hallows. That's what they called it, not Hallows Day. It was All Hallows.
yeah.
And so Halloween became All Hallows Eve.
Right.
And here's an interesting one I think you'll find kind of funny. In the 1700s and 1800s, what ritual do you think unmarried women did to show that they were single and available during Halloween?
Wore a sack over their head.
They bobbed for apples.
Oh, is that where that tradition came
It
from?
is.
What the heck does it have to? I would be
So
scared if I was a man and I
here's
saw.
how it goes: is unmarried women performed rituals on Halloween in hopes of finding a husband. Single ladies used to throw apple peels over their shoulders, hoping to see their future husband's initials in the shapes where they made where they fell.
Yeah.
And so bobbing for apples became very competitive, and the winner would marry first.
And then they'd eat the apple and throw it to see the initial of the boy.
Yep. They would take bites and I guess throw it behind them and see what the but
I knew about the apple thing, but I didn't know it had anything to do with Halloween. But I had an old lady one time have me eat an apple, and she was doing a reading off an apple. So that has to be what it was, as she was trying to, or at least derive from that. But I never knew, and it's been years ago. I just thought she's a crazy old lady. But I mean, whatever. She's an old lady. I'll do whatever she tells me to.
yeah. So here's what I found out about the children. It doesn't mention anything about the sacks of flour, the source that I found.
Yeah.
But it says in the 16th century, Christian village children celebrated the vigil of All Saints' Day by doing the Danse Macabre.
Okay.
The seven brethren, whose grisly death is described in the 7th chapter of the Deuterocanonical book of the Second Maccabees, is also said to have resulted in children dressing up in grisly costumes to signify these deaths.
There comes the macabre part.
Yeah. And it says here, about 100 years ago, Halloween in the USA was truly dangerous. More and more pranks by young people occurred on Halloween night, some of which resulted in injuries as well as economic damage. Halloween was therefore also called Mischief Night. In order to prevent the situation from getting out of control, American cities began to promote organized Halloween activities in the 1920s, which pumpkins were literally everywhere on decorations, costumes, and cakes, and even in beer.
Like a pumpkin ale or something?
That's what it sounds like.
That might be good.
And here you go. The pumpkin as a Halloween symbol has its origin in the jack-o'-lantern legend. It tells the story of the Irish blacksmith, Jack Oldfield, who was so cunning that he even tricked the devil into not sending him to hell.
I like that guy.
He says, however, being too much of a sinner to get into heaven, he was condemned to wander between the world with his lantern. Originally, the lantern was a hollowed-out turnip with glowing coal as its light source. But when it came to the U.S., Americans decided instead of turnips to use pumpkins.
Man, that must have been a bad smell. coal and a turnip, that'd be like a burnt turnip all the time.
Yeah.
That'd stink. That's interesting. I like that. We should do a whole show about fun facts.
We can.
We should just do it, and then if we have someone back out on us and we can't find anybody, spur of the moment, we can just do a fun fact show.
Yeah.
Have it as a backup. It's interesting.
But yeah, and so it is interesting when you look back at the history of some of our traditions, where they originate from, and the stories behind them, how they have evolved from one meaning to another meaning. Like today, Halloween is all about candy, and it's like, yeah, that's nowhere near what Halloween started as.
No. And just everything, like nursery rhymes. I mean, they're about plagues and murder. And I mean, Rockabye Baby is a sick story. And I mean, it's just like, I mean, we're based on macabre. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, it's all gruesome. I mean, there's nothing that I've found that's based in happiness.
Yeah.
I mean,
the number one nursery tale, I forget what it's called, but it has to do with I think it's
sheep.
Huh?
I said, are you gonna say sheep?
No, I'm trying to think, because I want to say London Bridge, but it's not the London Bridge.
It's about the plague, isn't it?
The one that goes, we all turn around ashes to ashes.
Yeah, ring around the posy.
That's the one.
Ring around the rosy, pockets full of posies, ashes, ashes. We all fall.
That was sung during the bubonic plague, and kids these days think it's just some fun game to play. And I was like, yeah.
You kids even still play that? I thought that game went out with my kids' generation.
I'm sure it's in some places, but probably not as frequent. But yeah, it's like it was a plague song. I was like, when I learned that, I was like, man, that's kind of dark that I was singing a plague song on the playground.
Yeah, there was a woman that was going around. I wish I could remember her name because somehow I lost her in all of my stuff. But she used to go in and she would actually be talking to herself, but she would go back and forth. And she was talking about one would be singing the song and then she would be like, do you know? Do you really know what that's about? And I was always like, oh my God. And, you know, she just talk about how screwed up we are to be singing this stuff.
You know what art is missing from our generation and the future generations?
What?
The storytellers.
Oh, no, I don't think so. You had, well, I guess Blaze Foley died before us, but we still have, you know, it's just in music now. The storytellers are musicians. It's kind of like more like a modern folk. You know, it's just told differently and has different beats, but there's still storytellers out there. We've still get it. They changed the genre, the way it's put out there. But I hear stories told in music all the time, like true storytellers. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed growing up, and I'll admit this was in my teenage years and probably early 20s. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was on PBS, and it was a show called Wishbone.
Oh, yeah. About the dog?
Yeah. And he would tell these stories. And I always thought that was the greatest show because...
So are you missing the narrating? Is that what you're missing? Things not being narrated?
Well, not necessarily narrated, but it was like, you know, yeah, he was narrating it, but he would put it in first person, like, oh, you know, me being this person, and then it flips and it becomes the story.
Yeah, I like that.
And
that was popular in the 80s. That was really good.
Yeah.
Kind of died out through the years, especially in cinema.
Yeah, that's the kind of storytelling that I think we've lost is...
I'll agree with that.
telling the story and like explaining what was going on, because that was the cool thing about Wishbone is you would watch the story and then they would tell you some about the story and what
Well,
it meant and how it relates to modern.
Yellowstone brought that back in the 1823 one, I think it was. No, it was the prequel to that one.
1883.
She
Yeah.
narrates through that thing in first person.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, they did that. I really enjoyed that too. I think she does a little bit in the next one also.
The 1923. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm wondering if they're gonna finish 1923 because it seemed like it ended weirdly, and it's like
I thought the same thing. I know that they're done with the original Yellowstone because Kevin Costner's out, but I heard rumor that there's a spin-off. I mean Kevin Costner's great and he did everything he can, but you could do a whole show on the Jamie and Beth thing.
saga.
Like, the kids are strong enough. He did such a good job of making every character so strong.
Yeah.
They can hold their own, and he did it in Tulsa King. He's done it in some of the other shows that I can't just think of the names, but I mean, they're so strong. The characters are so strong.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan does a great job on character building in his shows because
I mean, I love me some Rip, but I want a man like him. I want a man that can write that stuff about those people, you know. But I mean, it's just good stuff. And he actually last year at the Texas Country Music Awards, we thought we would be at the Drover, but we actually got bumped over to another area because the Yellowstone was doing their premiere. So right around the corner from us was all the Yellowstone characters, actors and actresses. And
I think Yellowstone has one more season coming because they were hinting at Kevin Costner's character, something was going to happen to him.
Yeah, I think there's episode 9 through 14 is coming up on part 2 because part 1 only goes through 9.
Yeah, and
season 5.
I gotta admit, ever since Harry Potter started that, it's been annoying to me that you get one book, 2 parts. It's like, just tell the movie. We've done it for years. Yeah. Why do we need to drag it out to 2 now?
Money.
But
why make money off of 1 when you can make money off of 2?
Yeah, and I gotta admit, one thing I think too that Taylor Sheridan does great with like the Yellowstone is it's about the Duntons, but it's also about the Indians. And so you can easily do a story about them too. And
oh yeah, just on the tribe. It can be like where they did Sons of Anarchy and then they broke off with the Mayans. I mean, those were both brilliantly done.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed them. I hope, I pray that they keep the whole storyline going in some way with the family, of John Dutton. Because, I mean, Beth and Rip, that's modern day Harlequin right there. A woman who'll throat punch and a man that loves her for it. I mean, that's my dream right there. Just go around throat punching everybody and go home to the man that loves you.
And I will say, though, too, the one thing about Yellowstone that I think is something that appeals to a lot of people but don't realize is it is a story about the family legacy and what you will do to protect that family. But it goes deeper into saying, the pressure that all those kids were put under to follow that legacy and what mistakes they made because of that, and how what they did now impacts the future. And, like you were saying, Beth and Jamie is a great example of that, where there was a mistake and he did his best to fix it, but they went through unknown channels because they didn't want Dad to know, and she now hates him because it ruined the future.
Well, I think that he did such a good job because, especially from being from Texas or Montana or any of the true ranching states, you know, and farming. I mean, you can pull that too. You know, there is such a responsibility, like you said, with these families. But like Jamie said at one point, he said, I wanted to be a rancher like my dad, but he told me I was going to law school. You know, you hit so many cultures with that.
Oh
That,
yeah.
you know, they say, you know, the baby's newborn, oh, this girl will be a doctor, this one will be a lawyer, and they will be that because that is what they're told to do, and that's how they'll be trained. And it goes the same way. And I think it just hits. We know these characters. Like, he's so good at making these characters people we know. Like,
Yeah.
every character in that, I know a character like that. I may know 20 like that. You
Well,
know.
and the other thing that he does really well is he actually, even though the show is about the Yellowstone and the Dutton Ranch, he shows how the family spreads out. And by that, I mean, I forget what his character's name is, but the one cowboy who was like nothing but a troublemaker who got branded and
Jimmy.
came into his own. They
Yeah.
fixed his problems, and he went off with the girl down to
Oh
Texas.
no! Don't tell too much.
Well,
Someone
that
might
was
not-
like
someone
4
might not know
seasons
that.
ago.
No, but some people wait till the very end and then watch all of them. So just don't
Oh,
tell
well.
too much. Don't tell too much. But
But-
yeah, but Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy. And, you know, the way he writes it is there could be like the Jimmy story of his life in Texas and
Oh,
how
yeah.
he, you know, that Mark, you know, how he brought what he learned and
Yeah.
survived to there.
I mean, it's
And-
a definite thing that when you hit rock bottom, when, you know, someone can give you a hand up or a hand out, and they gave him a hand up, but he had to work hard for it. And, you know, you can get through anything. I think Jimmy's a beautiful example of no matter how low you get, if you don't give up and you change, you may have to change your entire world, but if you change it, you can make your life better. And
Yeah.
it does get easier as you get past that bad spot. So, you know,
And
there's no
it's the
reason.
same with relationships because Jimmy was in a bad one that caused him all kinds of problems, and then he got into a good one, and you know
Janie
he
did?
flourished.
We disagree on that because I ain't seen one relationship that's
No,
held-
not Jamie. Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy, yes. Yes. I'm trying to
And
think.
it also shows how
Oh, yeah, I remember who that was. Yeah, yeah.
you know they're around you when they can get something, and then they disappear, and it's like they make you believe all of this. And he did a great job of showing, you know, how the fame and everything attracts both elements, and you have to really have your radar going strong to see what's really going on in front of you.
I really liked how they really touched on the real world of rodeo and in bucking and stuff like that. I really liked how they, you know, they touched a little bit on everything.
Yeah, I think that's because I think that was Taylor Sheridan's deal. Was he was cowboy trained and
Okay.
did the trick riding and all that. And I think
He's a hell
when
of a-
they gave him a moment to say, you know, do you want to showcase this? Because there was a series coming out too of riders that were, you know, showing how they compete and everything, and him being able to go to the riders and say, look, this is popular over there. This can be Yellowstone too. And bring it in and not lose the aspect of the show.
Are
I
you
think
talking
it's
about 4 6s or is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the rodeo races where they would
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, they do that.
do the charging the horse and then stopping it and not sliding and all those tricks.
Well, they want to slide. The best slide wins.
Well, slide to a certain point and then
Yeah.
be like able to control everything. And so it was really cool to see what goes into the training of that and how it even so Hallmark actually, I don't know if you know this, did a series kind of like a Yellowstone-ish type, where it was about a ranch with horses. But the difference was they were showing
You about the
living
girl
up.
riders?
They had one girl trick rider, but the son, one of the sons was killed.
Are you talking fictional or real life?
I think it's fictional.
Okay, because I'm talking about a real life documentary thing that followed girl riders.
But yeah,
wrong.
the Hallmark series is called Ride. And
Oh yeah, I don't think that was real. I think it might have been based on something, but it wasn't like, like a documentary or anything. But I actually saw him because he's been an actor for forever. He was on NYPD Blue.
Really?
And I saw Ron Jeremy, from, I don't know what his name is, but he was on Parks and Recreation in a pair of ladies' underwear on NYPD Blue. Like, to rewatch NYPD Blue was insane to see all the actors that we see now and what they're doing. But it was Ron Swanson was who it was. And he was dressed in a pair of ladies' undies in there. And Ron Jeremy was in there too, ironically enough, which is disgusting. But yeah, sorry, Ron.
No, but I mean, it's kind of interesting how right now it seems like TV is going back to the old west, kind of, to where a lot of the popular shows are like, horse riding, the rodeo, what it's like to have a ranch.
Yeah, but I think they're more spicy. I mean, Yellowstone isn't Bonanza.
No.
It's spicy. So.
But in a way, though, I think Yellowstone may be more real than Bonanza because, and I don't mean like with the, showing the violence, and the blood and everything, whereas
Bonanza, they were always
Bonanza didn't really show a lot of blood.
Right.
But I think the crew fights that they'd have at the bar, I feel like those were true.
Absolutely.
More true, and what people would do to each other to get ahead, I think was more true and maybe he could have told it with a little less brutality, but I feel like that's what it really was.
Our world is brutal.
And so it's like, he's like, it was his way of saying, wake up, people. This is the world we live in. And the Old West is not the drinking in a saloon, knocking somebody on their butt and walking out and going, oh, well, that justice was done.
Yeah, no. It's not quite how it is. Well, this has been a fun show.
Yeah. Oh. So you got any let's see, what is coming up? Oh yeah, October. We'll be back and we'll be with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and Chelsea Turpinning Coxey. So we are coming back next week with episodes on Tuesday and Wednesday. So make sure you pay attention to the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, subscribe so you don't miss episodes.
Right.
And we will see you all then.
Thanks for coming in. Don't forget to bring some canned foods. Michael, will you tell them where they're going to drop them off at?
So the canned goods are at the PX building. When you walk in the doors, to your left will be the ticket area. You'll just take them up there and just drop them off. And just tell them it's for donation or a discount for tickets.
Exactly. You don't have to go in to drop off food for the needy.
But if you want to, you can.
Definitely go in.
And yeah, and so definitely come check it out if you want to check it out. I have the website here on the bottom. So it's at www.texasscaregrounds.com. And you can buy tickets there, or you can get them at the door. I don't think there's a discount for buying them online. But if you do buy them online, either print your ticket or have it on your phone ready, because that'll help speed up the ticket line. Just a little helpful suggestion.
Good advice. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Yes, and wherever you are in the world, if it's for those of you in the morning, have a great morning. For those of you in the afternoon, have a great afternoon. And for those of you who are at night like we are,
Yep.
have a great night.
Sweet dreams.
All right. So we'll see you all next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
You have just listened to the energy that surrounds us with your host, Michael Koff. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.